Joe Biden has hired a high-level person at the Department of Energy's Office of Nuclear Energy. His name is Sam Brinton. Brinton is going to be the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposal in the Office of Nuclear Energy for the Department of Energy. Now, we can't dispute that Sam Brinton is qualified for that position. But Sam Brinton also goes by the name Sister Ray D. Oactive, his drag queen alter ego. He has worn stilettos to Congress to advise legislators about nuclear policy, and to the White House, where he advised President Obama on LGBT issues. He shows young men and women everywhere he goes they can be who they are and give them courage. He's been active in the drag queen society known as the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. He has been critiqued for his role in the HIV/AIDS crisis when gay rights activists called him an incompetent idiot. And he also engages in, teaches people, this is the delicate one, how to dress up as animals, particularly pups, they call them, and engage in, domination and submission. One of the hardest things about being a handler is that I've honestly had people ask, wait, you have sex with animals. They believe it's abusive, that it's taking advantage of someone who may not be acting up to a level of human responsibility. The other misperception is that I have some really messed up background. Like, did I have some horrible childhood trauma, he says, as he gets other men to dress up like dogs in leather and chains and do things. Here we are. There's no question, by the way, this guy is apparently qualified on nuclear energy. But it's exciting to have someone, I guess, if you're on the left, have a guy come in stiletto heels and fur dresses to Congress to advise you on nuclear policy. So I'm just not down with a lot of the culture these days. We are a hedonistic culture. And by the way, this is not just the left, although I think the left kind of set the trend. Matthew Continetti at the Washington Free Beacon has a piece today on the ubiquitous rise of gambling culture now. We've got drug legalization culture. We've got gambling culture now. We've taken what was Sin City and made it Sin Nation. Everybody can get on their apps and place their sports bets. I have a lot of friends who do it. I have gone to Las Vegas repeatedly. I don't really gamble a lot. I have discovered it. I enjoy the entertainment value of playing craps, the camaraderie around the table, but it's gambling. You're throwing your money away, and a lot of people seem to think they can get the winning lottery ticket off either the lottery or gambling and make a lot of money. Vice is becoming ubiquitous. Thrift and hard work, Puritan values are now passé. They're now considered bad. Why do we need an ethic of hard work in this country? Why do we need an ethic of thrift and saving money? Society seems to have lost its mind, and everything is brash and yelling. Within the evangelical church these days, people are yelling at each other. I'm still watching. There was that story on the Daily Wire a week ago or so about Francis Collins and demands for evangelical leaders to account for why they held this guy up as a Christian. They know the guy. A lot of them are in a Bible study with him or a book club with him or some such. They know his heart more than the people attacking him. I don't. I think the situation is far more complicated than either side wants to admit. Everybody just wants to yell at each other, perform for their own side on social media, be outraged, demand accountability of each side. But why would anybody want to be accountable to anyone else who acts like they want to excoriate them, that they don't actually want accountability? They want to be seen as the one who's in the right. There is a difference between wanting people to account for their sin and just wanting to be known as the person who is right. Everybody's gotten very loud in culture about these sorts of things. I'm reminded the story of Elijah in 1 Kings, 19? Where everybody's out to get him. Everybody is out to get him. They want to kill him. Jezebel, my gosh, Jezebel and Ahab, they want to take Elijah's head. Jezebel was a piece of work, wasn't she? And he got so tired, he just said, you know what, I'm ready to die. It's enough, take my life. I'm no better than my fathers. And he laid down and went to sleep. And an angel said, arise and eat. And the angel prepared him food. And then the angel came back and said, arise and eat. You need your strength. You're going on a journey. And he made it out to Horeb, Mount Sinai. And he was so upset, he wanted to hear the Lord. He just needed to know God was still with him because everybody seemed to be out to get him. Everybody was out to get him. Everybody hated him. You right now probably, you might feel the same way. Everybody's out to get you. You feel like sometimes it's in your head. Sometimes, and I get this too, I got to admit, particularly when I'm hungry, I get it in my head, everybody and everything is out to get me. And particularly in culture right now, even on my side. So I've been writing about the discontent in evangelicalism, and I've got a lot of friends on both sides. And both sides, as a result, I sometimes feel like they're all out to get me because I'm not placating either side. I'm making them both mad at me for telling them, really, y'all are all going about it the wrong way. Neither of you is really exercising any level of humility. And in culture in general, particularly pop culture, humility is a sin these days. If you are humble, you express doubt, you apologize, my gosh, they come for you. And you can feel battered by all sides because you think you're doing the right thing. Based on your values, the way your parents raised you, you think you're doing the right thing. This is what I think is right. And then you do it and everybody comes for you. You're like, I thought I was doing the right thing. Everybody seems out to get you. Culture seems out to get you. If you're a conservative these days, particularly if you're a person of faith in culture, the world seems out to get you. And if not you, they're coming for your kids. So Elijah, he travels to Sinai. And there was a strong wind. It tore the mountains, broke into pieces, the rocks. But God was not in that wind. And then after the wind, there was an earthquake. And God was not in the earthquake. And after the fire, there was a fire after the earthquake. And in the fire, God was not in the fire. And at Sinai, God tends to be in the fire. He was not in the fire. And then, after the high wind, and then after the earthquake, and then after the fire, there was a quiet voice. A quiet voice. And that was God. And I sometimes think, and granted, I'm a talk radio show host. I'm on TV. I give speeches for a living. I write newspaper columns. Not always the quiet voice. I mean, if I were the quiet voice here, I'd be putting you people to sleep. Y'all would run off the road, and then I'd get sued probably. And people would turn off the radio. The ratings would go down. I would get canceled. I do have to keep you company and keep you entertained. I can't always be the quiet voice, but you don't have to also be the brain biblical donkey. And the quiet voice is not the quiet voice these days, so countercultural. You've got the guy at the The energy department now, he dresses up as a drag queen and goes to brief members of Congress on nuclear regulatory policy. He wants to, I'm sorry, if you're a dude and you're dressing up as a girl going to Congress and you're doing interviews about how you dress up guys as puppies and have sexual relationships with them and dominate them and they submit to you and you're giving interviews and you're bragging about it, you want the attention. You want the attention to be about you. Everybody in society wants everything to be about them. Sex culture in society these days, it is all brash. It is all loud. It is all in your face. Adidas the other day ran that ad on social media that showed women's exposed breasts. It was an ad for the variety of bras, sports bras you can buy at Adidas. For women, we make a variety for a variety of fits, and they show you just dozens and dozens of women's exposed breasts to make the point. Wait till the jockstrap ad comes out. Everything is in your face. And, it's countercultural at this point to just be the quiet voice, to not be the person yelling all the time on social media, picking fights, demanding your right, demanding others account, demanding others apologize to you, demanding that others answer to you when you're not anybody that has to be answered to. You just live your life. And you live your life the right way. Live your life the godly way. Live your life as your parents raised you to live your life. And, man, the culture will come for you. People will pressure you. They will want you to be brash. And then the temptation is there. You want to be on social media and you want to get attention. You want to grow your followers. You gotta be a jerk. I know of which I speak. At some point, though, you turn it off. And man, people get mad at you for turning it off. Like, you used to be. The number of people I know who accuse me of somehow moderating because I'm not the brave biblical donkey some people think I still am, that I used to be. I mean, I clearly am not the way I used to be on social media. You've gone soft. Everybody kind of goes soft at some point in their life. You realize sometimes that you did things wrong that maybe you shouldn't have done. You apologize and no one accepts your apology and it's off-putting to you. And then you've had your say. And now you finally figured out who you're talking to. And people get mad at you and they want to pressure you and they think you've changed. There are very few issues on which I have changed my position in 20 years in politics. I largely think, based on my worldview and all the things I thought a long time ago are probably still the right things. There are a few things I've changed on for the better, I think. But man, people are like, oh, man, you're not the conservative. I still believe exactly what I believe. You're the one who flipped based on politics and who you wanted to be with and the in crowd. Sometimes you just got to dig your feet in and say, this is where I am. And you got to be the quiet voice. Because in a world that is screaming, in a world that is brash, in a world that is sexually exploitative, in a world that is in your face with sex and culture and vice, the quiet voice that stands firm is the most countercultural voice these days. And it's the one ultimately I think a lot of people, they slow down and listen to. I had a teacher once who, when everybody in the room would be really, really, really loud, the teacher would speak softly. And just speaking in a steady, calm, conversational tone that was quiet, the whole class would wind up shutting up to hear. It worked. It works now, too. It takes time. Some people get impatient. Some people get frustrated. But, I think about that story of Elijah. The wind came, the earthquake came, the fire came. Surely in all of those things, that's where God would be. Nope, he was in the quiet voice, too. Made Elijah pay attention. And in society these days, maybe the quiet voices are the ones that are actually going to get people to be sane again.